Hey, it's me again. For some reason, I was remembering a little bit times gone by, and yeah, when I was a kid, I wasn't always perfect. I sometimes, well, my parents set boundaries, and sometimes I would go places they didn't want me to go. It's worked out all right, but I'm not saying I should have done it. But the Lord protected me. My dad was paranoid of snakes, and he was afraid of certain places there'd be snakes. But I did remember something that happened to me and my family during my adult life. That's another example of why you should follow the verse about obeying your parents, especially obey your father. Back then, it'd been several years ago. Back then, when we lived in Liebern, Kentucky, and hadn't lived there very long. And my oldest was he had one of them wooden beds with a wooden platform and drawers in it and a mattress on top, and he'd set up a stool and was running and jumping from this jump off the stool onto the bed. And for some reason, I just crossed my mind that I probably should tell him to stop before, because there's a possibility, hey, what if he messes up and hits his head in that corner? Well, he ignored my order to stop and unfortunately hit his head in that corner. So we had to drive from Liebern, Kentucky to Hazard, Kentucky in a snowstorm to take him to the emergency room. Back then, Knott County did not have any emergency room or anything like that. It's been a long time since I've been down that way, so I'm not sure if it does now or not, but back then it didn't. So, and it took a long time. We had to go it was just, like I said, what passes as a big snowstorm here in Kentucky. From what I've seen online, y'all up north probably wouldn't consider it nothing, but for us, it's a big deal. So drive through the Appalachians from Liebern, Kentucky to Hazard, Kentucky in four-wheel drive in a snowstorm. Took us a good time frame. Thankfully, wasn't bad. This memory serves, he didn't even have to have stitches, thankfully. But it sure looked bad. And it wasn't no fun having to drive him there and hoping that your kid ain't going to need really, well, let's just say when your kid has bleeding, has something with the head, hits their head, and if it's bleeding or something, it's concerning to any parent that's any sense about them, okay? If y'all, I'm sure parents will understand what I'm trying to say, but that is an example of why, from my personal experience, I guess you could say, that's an example of why kids follow that Bible verse and obey your parents and the Lord. Thanks for watching. Good night and God bless.